Hello, hello, hello.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Genuinity Podcast. I don't know if we should it be the Genuinity Podcast or just Genuinity Podcast? Because I have the urge to say, welcome to the Genuinity Podcast. Because it sounds weird saying, welcome to Genuinity Bar.
I think I have to agree with the first.
So we just leave it off labeling.
Yeah.
Anyways, welcome to our nonsense. I want to say thank you first off to the 50 people that listened to episode 1. Mostly probably everybody friends that we know, family that we know. So thanks for listening. We appreciate it. We have no idea what we're doing. We have no idea where this is going. We just something I've been wanting to do, and so we're finally doing it. So I'm glad we've made it to episode 2. Releasing episode 1 definitely was a push to do episode 2. And as usual, we're scrambling to record this, but we're kind of going to start messing with when to release them. So that first one was released on Friday. Probably release this one on Tuesday, which would be Halloween. So October the 31st, as Elijah would say, spooky. Oh, Pookie.
It's Pookie.
I still don't know if I can say his name.
No, he said.
I keep saying his name.
Yeah,
I don't know if I can.
I don't know either, but he says it's Pookie, which I don't understand where he gets the mix, like the Hispanic, like spooky, spooky.
There was a TV show called Spooky, and it was not spooky. But anyways, so we're going to play it around with it, probably release this one, like I said, on Tuesday. So if you're listening to this and it's Tuesday, we did it. If you're listening to this and it's just being released on Thursday, we didn't do it, but it's still out. So
hey, we're recording,
that's a big plus in itself.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, so after our first dive into this, we realized that we are both extreme ramblers. And so I did get some feedback from some people that were like, yeah, maybe you should be a little bit more topic centered, which I agree. So we have our own things and stuff that we want to talk about, but we want to hear what topics y'all think we should cover. So on the Spotify homepage, there'll be a spot there that'll say, how do you like the episode? How do you like the podcast? Just drop, a little comment there that says, hey, we want to hear this, or hey, we want to hear you talk about this, or whatever it is, or post on Instagram, DM us, whatever it is. Send us questions.
I did get a request.
Oh, you did get a request.
I did get well, sort of. I was using this magical machine because I've been sick. We've all been sick.
Was or are?
Well, I guess I still technically am using it just because we've done with allergies, cold. We're just all nasty and sinusy. And I did get a request for the magical machine. It is a Vicks vapor inhaler.
We will not be putting it on Instagram because we don't have affiliate links. So,
it is
Vicks, if you're hearing this, send us 5 cents.
And it is magical when you cannot breathe. You inhale that steamy goodness with the little Vicks pod thing that you put in there and just opens you right up.
So I haven't used that one. We're kind of on opposite ends of medicinal care, if that's even a phrase. So I got sick first. We live in Texas. It's, allergy season 8 months out of the year. And so, especially in October. And so I got sick first with a sinus infection, and then Elijah got sick, and then you got a sinus infection. Actually, you got COVID first, and then I got a sinus infection.
Yeah, but I got COVID like a month
ago. Right. But I'm saying that started this month-long, we've all been on and off sick type deal or whatever. And so whenever I got sick, it's been like 3 weeks now, sinuses, I use that Neil MD neti pot, but not the pot, the squeeze bottle.
Quart bottle.
And you tried that. And
I almost drowned.
About damn near drowned in the sea.
It was awful.
I mean,
it was awful. So I've never been able to use just a neti pot, like ever. But this squeeze bottle makes it like a little bit easier because it like pushes water into your nostrils.
To be fair, you're not even comfortable in water. Like you're not comfortable underwater in general. So like your head goes underwater and you're like.
That's true.
You probably thought your brain was like, I'm drowning.
Like technically I can swim, but I would not trust myself to swim, if that makes sense. Like if in a life-death situation,
You die.
I would die. Absolutely. I'd be like not Rose, the other guy, Jack, like floating down.
Okay. This doesn't need to be a thing. I don't want to get into it, but I will say there was enough room on that door.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't care. This isn't like, is Die Hard a Christmas movie type debate? I think everybody at this point agrees that there was 100% enough room on the door.
Oh, absolutely.
And
I
Rose
think
was
there was, but also you're not taking into account, this is the nerdy Jessica coming out. You're not taking into account the fact that the water was like below freezing temperatures. So it wouldn't be that easy to move around and like do all the things that you think that you would be able to do.
She was able to move around enough to stay on the door herself. She was able to get on the door.
Well, shoot. I mean, this was in the...
She was able to get into the lifeboat that came to get her.
I think they pulled her in.
Okay, regardless.
I don't know.
There was enough room on the door. That's all I wanted to say.
Fun fact, I was reading an article, another nerdy thing.
Already rambling. Said we weren't going to ramble.
And they actually filmed that movie like in like low temperature, like cold water intentionally to get like the full effect.
Yeah, so we did... Let me finish our ramble.
Sorry.
We went to the Orlando
That's not where
studios.
this came from.
No, I'm just saying. We went to that and we got to see the behind the scenes tour or whatever, where they do the pools of water, at the backdrop or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So I wonder if it was something like that.
Oh, no. I don't know. I don't know that part.
It would have to have been. Like they weren't in the Atlantic Ocean or whichever ocean it is.
I would assume they would
major.
still have to do some sort of a set or something.
Yeah, for sure.
But
anyways,
no, those pools blew my mind.
We digress or try to at least, on our rambling. And so with that being said, because we've all been sick, because we all have a whole bunch of nasty, icky stuff going on, Elijah has been super crazy and fussy on and off. We also, a little inside podcast. This is 8 months later. Episode 2 and episode 1 are 8 months apart. So whenever I say we are procrastination station, 8 months worth of procrastination station.
Yeah, I mean, There's
no legitimate excuse.
There were other episodes that we did record. However, our technician did not record them. So
okay, I recorded them. They somehow came up blank. Okay.
So
Annie and Aldo.
Our friend Annie and Aldo came over one weekend, and we were up in our office. It's become like our office studio, and we were up here probably for like 5 hours.
It was not that long. It felt that long because we were tired. But
it felt that long, but we were up here just talking, and none of it got recorded. So I'm sorry, Annie and Aldo, if you're wondering why that hasn't been put out into the universe. It's because it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
Except in our mind.
In our hearts, where it will live forever and ever. And we love y'all.
And that just gives you another excuse to come visit it.
That's true. If anybody wants to come visit us and record an episode, just hit us up. I mean, not anybody. Let me rephrase that. Anybody we know that already knows where we live want to come hang out with us and record. Let's do that. We want to do that. Anyways, but so I figured because there was such a large gap, 8 months in between episode 1 episode, listening to episode 1 as I was editing it, I heard us talk a lot about toddler life and, oh man, we're so tired. It's been so crazy having a toddler and blah, 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 blah. And at that time, he was only like 16 months old.
Yeah.
And homie's like full scale 2-year-old now. And for those of you that have kids in general, but are right in the midst of that toddler craziness, there's a big difference between 12, 18, 24, 30-month breakdowns. Like it's just a whole new level. And so, and regardless of if we're talking about breakdowns or meltdowns, whatever it is, I always feel like anytime you bring up your parenting style, or if you're enough on Instagram now or Facebook or TikTok or whatever it is, you're constantly seeing these social media influencer moms that are like, I have the best parenting hack for you. And so I figure, hey, we would talk about some of the like real life stuff that we do with Elijah that we've seen work, and then some of the stuff that's just bullshit. That it's like the gentle parenting thing.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I will say Elijah was a really, really good baby. And not that he's a bad kid now, but he is very opinionated and very strong-willed, which I encourage. We encouraged. Partially our fault, but I know in the long run it'll be beneficial. But he is very independent and strong-willed. And so now that he's more self-sufficient and can express his opinions, he lets us know what his opinions are, and they're typically against whatever we want him to do. So as a baby, he was a sweetheart, like would go with anyone, like was just very gentle, very sweet, very loving. Now he's a wild animal.
But yeah, like we legitimately had numerous people come up to us and be like, "Is that baby real?" Like, because he was in a
Does
baby
he
carrier,
even
because he would,
cry?
he was a huge sleeper, which also we learned, hey, you should turn your baby's head when they sleep because sometimes they get flat spots. So we had to deal with that thing, and it wasn't what like we felt guilty about it because we're like, did we let him sleep too much? Is it our fault or whatever it is? And it's like we let him sleep as much as he wanted to sleep, but
But it's also
his
genetic.
yeah, genetic. His older brother had a flat spot on his head, and or at least so we were told. But anyways, so we had tons of people that come up to us, and it's like he's not real. He's so quiet and he doesn't cry, and like that's the way it was when we were out and about. And then when we'd get home, he'd lose his ever loving mind, and so now it's kind of evening out where he's just as wild and crazy in public as he is at home. But
He used to be
still
shy. Like he used to get embarrassed. Like if he acted out in public, people would be like he would like, and people would notice. He'd kind of dial it down. Like, oh, you're not supposed to see me acting crazy. I saved this for home for mom and dad. Even my parents, like they were like, this baby never misbehaves. What are you talking about?
Dude,
like we have him all the time.
I
And
don't
then
even know.
one day the wild animal came out and they're like, I don't know who this child is.
Also, I don't know if they are going to listen to this. If they listen to this, what up? If y'all are. But every parent will agree with me that grandparents never act like the parents they were when they raised you to their grandkids.
You're here.
Like that's just, it's like I'm seeing it firsthand. I didn't really grow up with like the quintessential grandparents, like where you get to go spend the weekend at like grandma and grandpa's, or you get to, do it. Like I didn't have that. Like there was like a 20-year gap where I didn't see my grandfather, and like we went to my grandmother's for holidays and stuff like that. But it wasn't like you spent way more time with your grandparents.
Oh yeah, my grandma was like our primary babysitter. So I was with her probably till 5th grade. We were with her every single day, except excluding weekends. But we were with her like early in the morning till like 4 or 5 every day.
You would see the difference of relationship between like your grandmother telling your mom, "Hey, don't do this," or "Hey, this isn't what whatever it is." And so it's like you get that
to an extent, like. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't remember, but I guess to an extent she kind of did what my mom does to us. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. She can have this. It's okay.
Yeah,
and you would like hide behind because I do remember that. Like, I remember hiding behind my like grandma, like he said, like he does now. Mine was Wita, but I do remember like doing that to my mom, like playing them against each other. And
he's in prime.
And I see Elijah doing it now, but I feel like I did it when I was older. He like can barely talk, and he's already caught on that he can like, do that. And it's wild because like you'll ask him like, "Where are you gonna go?" Like when he's upset, he'll be like, "Grandma's house."
Dude, he's already playing people. Like if I'm getting on to him because he's not listening, and that's our biggest struggle right now is the not listening part, and that's where the gentle parenting, I call it bullshit, comes in, because it's like, and we've all seen the memes where it's like gentle parenting is for gentle children, and it's like we don't have a gentle child. Like he was a gentle baby, but he is not a gentle toddler. Like, homie
Yeah.
punches, kicks,
It's a little
pushes.
violent.
He's
He
like,
spit-
nah,
He
man.
has straight up like spit in my face before.
Yeah, spitting is a new thing. I don't know. I know where it came from, and it's because this past couple months I've been sick. And so like he sees me spitting out, all the phlegm or whatever. So then he wants to do it. But also I picked him up from daycare one day and he had a mouthful of dirt. And so that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other topic that we can earmark for later in this episode of talking about daycare situation. But he had a mouthful of dirt, and so I took him to the sink and I had to wash it out, and I was putting water in his mouth. I was like, okay, spit in the sink. And so that was the first time he was like spitting.
Yeah.
And now it's like it was like 2 months ago when I had my full mental breakdown of parenting and trauma, and finally made the decision like, oh, I should probably go back to therapy because this child is bringing out all my insecurities, all my irritabilities, bringing up a whole bunch of childhood stuff that I thought I had gone over, gotten rid of, whatever. And so that was don't know if I want to talk about that, maybe later, but we had this really difficult morning, and to the point where we had to like kind of, kiss and make up with him. And we had this it would be like what you would consider like a Hallmark, moment of like, of a movie. And he looks at me and just goes, spits right in my face. And I was like,
Oh, he said that to me.
dude,
Right in the eye.
Like I was, let's put it this way. Spit was mixing with tears. Like I was already crying when homie spit in my face, and I was like, wow, okay, I deserve that, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool.
He's vindictive too. He's like,
But I don't think he meant it. I talked to some other people about
like
it, and I from what I get it, I don't think he's vindictive. I think it was his way of being like playing. It was his way of like,
maybe,
hey, we're back to square one.
Maybe.
Like this was, yeah, I get you. I accept your apology. Now because he kind of had this like weird smirk on his face, and it wasn't like,
yeah, he's probably like, got him.
No, it was, I think it was just like okay, let's go. Like, like, I don't know. It's the first time it's happened. It hasn't happened again. Most of the other time it's just him doing the noises, those faces, and he's drooling a lot and all of that. But yeah, gentle parenting is 100%, I think. I mean, I don't want to say 100%, but for gentle kids, like how do you let a kid that is like for almost shy of like punching you in the face when he doesn't want to get his diaper changed, when he doesn't want to just simply lay on his back and let some other person wipe his butt? Like, can you imagine that if every time you pooped or peed, all you had to do is lay on your back and be like, change me, peasant? Like, but instead, no, he's fighting against that and doesn't want you to change his diaper. Doesn't want you to give him his inhaler, which now he's asthmatic, we found out. And so we had to go to a pulmonologist for a 2-year-old, which is like, I don't think I've ever even been to a pulmonologist. And I'm pretty sure I got just as much breathing problems as he does. But it's like, we took him to a pulmonologist. My boy's
defective. He's got all the defects.
We got a discount, baby.
Well, that's special.
We joke about that. But anyways, we got a discount dog. We have a discount cat.
No,
and we got
a
discount baby. And so, yeah, we found out that he was diagnosed with RAD, and I don't know if any other parents know what that is. It's essentially respiratory or reactive airway disease.
I honestly don't know what it, like, he was explaining it and I'm like, so basically asthma.
Yeah,
like he just gave it a special name.
He kept saying so he has reactive airway. He didn't say disease. He was like, he has reactive airways. And we're like, okay. And then he would start to talk about it. The pulmonologist would start to talk about it. And then he goes, he doesn't have asthma yet, but he has reactive airways. And we're like, okay. And he's like, but I'm just going to talk about it as if he has asthma. And we're like, so does he or doesn't he have asthma? And then he starts talking about it and he's like, I'm just going to call it asthma. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
so the kid has asthma, and it's partially because they don't diagnose 2-year-olds with asthma. I think now we were told 4, now it's 3, but RAD is reactive airway disease. And essentially all it means is that it's like severe allergies, essentially, like any kind of pollen, any kind of
Yeah.
allergens, any type of foreign, pollen molecules, whatever you want to call it, gets stuck in his airways. His airways start getting irritated, and then they start swelling, and then he starts coughing, and the coughing causes his muscles to contract, and then they start to get more swollen, and so then everything just starts constricting, and then because of whatever's in his airways, it creates a mucus that then the mucus portion of that is to try and get him to cough up whatever pollen or whatever particles are lodged in his airway. So that's the reactive airway part of that thing. And so that's what he's been doing for like the last 6 months to a year. And
since we've had him.
Yeah. And we've been telling his doctors, like, he has asthma. And they're just like, well, he's just, he's just a baby. That's just his airways. They're small. And we're like, no, like, he shouldn't be coughing like wet coughs when he's not sick. Like, he doesn't have a fever. He just has a wet cough or whatever. And they just kept telling us it was because of his small airways, and that's what the sound was. But anyways, he's now being diagnosed with RAD, and so he has to have an inhaler and a steroid inhaler and all this fun stuff. All this stuff actually that, ironically, I guess, or coincidentally, stuff that I dealt with as a kid. So it's funny is that we had, unable to have our own kids and go through all this fostering process, and we end up with a kid who's almost identical to all of my issues. And then now we're realizing his personality, he's like a sponge, and he is absorbing my personality quite well.
Yes,
for better or worse.
Is. He is a sweet kid, though. I know we're talking really negatively about him, but he's also a little lover boy. And
hey man, he's a toddler. I think all toddlers are.
I don't think so.
Spawns.
Oh yeah, no, I'm talking about being like cuddly. Like,
oh yeah,
he has his moments where he's super cuddly.
Let's say about 30% of the time he is an a-hole that we just don't want to deal with, and then the rest of the time he's quite sweet and fun, and he's in this new like your turn, your turn,
yeah,
and like wants you to play with him, and then very quickly my turn, my turn. My turn.
Yeah.
Like with everything now. It's like,
Right.
you want something to drink? My turn. My turn. So I don't know if he learned that at daycare or what, but yeah. So gentle parenting, we've tried it. It works occasionally. I'm trying to be better about what he actually needs and trying to figure out what's going on with him versus being very reactive to
And I'm just
screaming.
laying down the law over here because he's he's already bigger than me, and he's already stronger than me, and he's 2. So
yeah, he's definitely going to be bigger than both of us.
Laying down the law over here, and I'm like, we're not, I don't play.
Which is kind of a role reversal because I was the one that was more, I guess,
stern.
Yeah, more stern, and now I'm the one that's. But it's also because, like I said, I recently just started going to
You're
therapy.
You're a changed guy.
Dude, I'm doing my best. Okay, like, I'm
you
trying
really
to
are.
get my stuff together.
You really are.
And part of it's just because it's triggering, man. Like nobody tells you that whenever you have a kid, that they will bring out the worst in you, and not to say that in like a negative, like scary way, but just in like a realistic, they will bring out the worst in you. Like they'll bring out your biggest fears. They'll bring out things you never thought of, things you never, like had a pretty, stress-free, well, we would say that now, but pre-kids, there's a lot of things we were immature in the sense of we had no other responsibilities besides ourselves. And so we had to mature very quickly, because when you're 32, 30, 31, whatever it is, and you don't have kids and you have expendable income and you have, all of your stuff figured out, it's very easy to not care about stuff. But then you throw a little person into your world and it's like, dude just throws everything on its head. It's like, we're not saving enough. We don't have a college fund. We need 401ks. We have 401ks now. And it's like all of these things that we just weren't worrying about. And then now we're like trying to go into hyperdrive to do them all. But that's like the adulting side of it. But then just the like emotional side of it, like bringing up insecurities, bringing up the way you were raised. And then you realize like, oh man, like I'm doing some of the stuff that my parents are doing to me and some of the things I'm looking back on as an adult. And I didn't like the way I was treated as a kid, or I didn't like the way things turned out. But yet here, and you know, everybody does it. It's like, well, when I become a parent, I'm not going to treat my kids that way, or, you know, they don't know what it's like or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then you have a kid and you're like, it kind of gives you, it's like a double-edged sword, right? It gives you an appreciation for what your parents went through and like realizing like, oh, they were doing the best they could with what they had. And, you know, raising kids or whatever isn't easy. But then also like, oh no, there's definitely like ways of changing and ways of like figuring this out. And whenever you come to the realization of like, I don't want to be doing this anymore. And that's kind of what I had. I had that realization of like, I got to stop.
I'm more on the practical side. I'm like, I have like twice as much laundry now. Nobody tells you how much laundry you have to launder when you have a little baby. I have 2 people that I get to pick up after now. And just like,
yourself and Elijah.
Just wrangling around a little guy. And then also I have this like need to put him in things like extracurriculars, even
dude, that's another thing. Like,
and I'm like, I don't want him to miss out on anything.
For those that are like, oh, put your kids in activities. It's a parenting hack. No, bro, he just turned 2 years old, like 24 months old and 2 days. And he starts soccer. Like homie could barely even run without a ball. And then she was like, hey, let's throw a soccer ball into the mix and see if he can survive. Guess what? 50-50 no.
He loves it.
He loves it. Okay, it is the cutest thing in the world to hear him be like, soccer, Coach Dima, soccer. And then we get him donuts before. So then he's like, donuts, grandma, grandpa, donuts.
Oh yeah, grandma and grandpa go to every
Which is great
practice.
Because as you know, whenever you introduce fun things to your kid, you can be an evil parent and use those fun things as leverage. Like get in the tub or you're not going to soccer tomorrow. You know, like whatever it is. And like he has swim. So like he has swim on Mondays, which he's had swim classes since he was 6 months old. Like
my dude still can't swim.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
at some point
he's 2 years old.
When
so
is he gonna start?
Like 25 months old?
Well, the problem is he thinks he can swim. Yeah. Like he very much believes that he can swim. So he's not terrified of water at all. He will just jump into a pool thinking that he can swim, but the reality is he still cannot.
No. He loves water and I say 25 months and let me clarify this. Not one of those people that's like when somebody asks you how old's your kid, I'm like, oh, he's 28 months. Like I've never been that person, but I feel like when we're talking about, and I get why having gone through that, I get why we say 16 months, 18 months, 20 months, whatever it is. And so I say 25 months because it's imperative that it's like, we're understanding that he's a month out of being 2, because being in these soccer practices, you see the difference in
they're 2 and 3. So his little soccer team is 2 and 3.
Yeah. So you have kids that are 24 months. You have kids that are 30 months, 36 months, 42 and 40. Like I guess they're not 40 because that'd be,
But
those would be 4-year-olds.
So let me clarify. It's not a game. So at that age, it's obviously not a game. It's more skills. And so you can see the difference, obviously, because they're more mature and older between the 3-year-olds and the 2-year-olds. But for Elijah being probably the youngest person in his class, he's doing really, really well. Like he's learned
I got
so many new skills. But Justin being super competitive gets really frustrating because it's also like parent led. So it's like, yes, there's a coach telling him what to do, but there's also a parent on the field with them, like assisting. And Justin gets so frustrated because I guess he just wants Elijah to be like a super soccer star.
It's not even that I want him to be a super soccer star. It's the same thing that happened when we were doing. So when you first start your baby in swim class, it's parent led. And so it's super frustrating whenever you pay $30 a swim lesson and your toddler is crying the whole time, or your baby is crying the whole time, which I get. It's new. You're holding his head underwater.
Yeah, you dunk him.
Like
real
I was
quick.
a dunker. Like we had some friends that were, you know who you are. We had some friends that had kids in it at the exact same time. And mom did not want baby dunked. Mom was like, And I was in the class with
She
that.
literally, I saw, she would like knock on the glass and she'd be like, "Don't you be dunking my baby." Like
And I
she'd be
was in there
telling her
with his dad.
husband, like tapping on the glass.
I was like, no, we're doing it. We're dunking them. We're dunking them. Dads, we're going to dunk them. You got to let your babies go underwater and get used to it, which now Elijah loves it. Like we were in Alabama and they had a pool at the hotel we were at, or the condos we were at. And he jumped in the water and came back up and goes, "Ay, Chihuahua."
Yeah, that was the thing for a while. He just thought it was a
Jumping in the water.
clever thing ever.
'Cause I think it's
He'd go, "Ay, Chihuahua," and he'd start
so he
laughing.
knew that like water is wawa or awa, and he calls it wawa. And so I think that's how it kind of got like,
Yeah.
I think I said it once and I don't know in what context, but he definitely overheard me say it because he jumped in the water, comes out and goes, "Ay, Chihuahua."
He's a little adventure baby. He's always traveled really, really well. So we were nervous about taking him to the beach, but he loved the beach. He loved the ocean.
I still don't know if I want to drive 10 hours to Alabama with a toddler again, but
He was so good on the road
he was,
trip.
but I
He
felt
wasn't-
bad
he
because
didn't
it's like,
misbehave at all.
you know,
I mean, we
4 or 5 hours
stopped.
since.
We stopped once, I think, each time. Like halfway through, we stopped to eat just to give him a break. But he did really, really well. Well, more like better than I thought he was going to do.
Yeah, so like one, I guess, parenting hack that I foresaw was whenever I had a Gladiator when we first got him, Jeep Gladiator. I loved it. It was great. But I quickly realized putting a toddler in and out of there and then being able to have more room in the bed, like it just wasn't going to be very practical for, small people like us, like being 5, 6. And I mean, Gladiators are small, but still like having to lift.
It just
He's a
wasn't-
heavy baby.
yeah.
So it was like,
Well, it just
lifting,
wasn't practical.
yeah, you're
The
lifting a
back
30
seat's not very
pound,
big.
lifting a 30-pound car seat plus baby or whatever. And it's like, that it just wasn't. And so I went to go trade up and I wanted a Durango, and they had the one that just come off the truck had TVs in it. And I was like, I didn't want TVs, because then,
Total mom ban.
yeah, like Jessica already calls it
I was completely
a
against the
minivan.
Durango. Like
you still are against it.
I just don't like it. I've never really cared for it. I mean, the car it's comfortable and it's practical. Like it's nice.
great.
It's got that third row. Like when we go with my parents and my sister somewhere, we can all just jump in the car because we all fit comfortably. And as far as the car itself, yes, I've never thought that it's
You don't think it's an attractive vehicle?
aesthetically pleasing, and I've never liked it from the beginning. Like even pre baby, he's been
You
wanting
said
this
it's a
car
minivan.
even
You called it a
before.
minivan.
It's absolutely a minivan. It's just
It's not a-
it's an incognito minivan. It's like, like a Honda Odyssey. Like that is marketed as
the
a
Honda
minivan.
Odyssey is like a 4-cylinder.
I know, but I'm saying it's marketed as a minivan. This is like them trying to like hide the fact that it's really just a minivan.
It's a muscle car. It has a Hemi in it.
I guess. Who wants to drive fast with their babies on board?
Well,
You just need
was
the
it
sticker.
meant for babies? I do see more women driving in.
It's
So
absolutely a minivan.
it's whatever. I'm actually thinking about changing the plates to. Actually, you know what? I want a poll on this one. We're gonna put a poll out on whether or not you think this is clever or not. But I want to get new license plates, and the license plate will say Hemi van, and it's a play on minivan because it has a Hemi. I said Hemi van, and Jessica said, actually, she didn't say anything. I said, "Did you hear me?" And she goes, "Yeah." I go, "You didn't think that was clever?" And what did you say?
I don't remember.
You said it was stupid.
Oh, yeah, that's probably what I said. I was going to guess that, but yeah.
Anyways, so I bought it with screens. Didn't realize that was going to be. I realized like after buying it, I was like, no, this will be great for Elijah. Like he'll get to use it in like 2 years or whatever. Well, here we are, 2 years. And every time I have Land Before Time loaded up in it because that was my go-to movie as a kid. Shout out to my sister Erica. She got me hooked on Land Before Time whenever I was a kid.
He can watch Land Before Time like all day long and just be entertained. Same movie over and over
You put
again.
the first one on. Steven Spielberg really knows how to do a cartoon animated movie because he directed that first one, and it is by far the best one out of all of them.
Oh, absolutely.
And he will just sit there quietly
and like he laughs at the appropriate time.
Yeah, he was like a year and a half old, and he was repeating like lines in perfect timing. And so now every Triceratops is Sarah.
It's a 3-horn. Every Triceratops is a 3-horn. Every little foot or long neck, whatever the technical term is. It's a long neck or little foot. Ducky, like if he has like little play dinosaurs and he knows them all by name, but he names them off like whatever Land Before Time says. So
pterodactyls or Petrie.
Yeah, Petrie, Ducky,
Sharptooth,
Spike.
Yeah, Sharptooth. We're actually, because of that, in a couple weeks we'll keep y'all updated on that. We're getting dinosaur tattoos.
Well, we got them so there's a story behind it. We got henna tattoos in Alabama. They were like little minimalistic like dinosaur tattoos.
They're like a mix between, it's like henna ink on a temporary tattoo. Like when you think of like a temporary tattoo, that's the style of it, but it's henna ink. And so it lasted like a month.
Yeah. And so we all got it, and then obviously Elijah had them too because they were temporary. And so like for the longest time, like he would look for them on our arms, like where like he knew what we had and he would look for them. And so because of that, that and the fact that he's absolutely obsessed, I thought that he would like grow out of this, but he's been going strong for about a year on these dinosaurs and his love for them. And like, so it's so intense that like we went to the Museum of Natural Science Museum, and we went for the shark exhibit. But once you get into like one of the private or paid exhibits, then you can go through all the other exhibits, like the permanent exhibits. And so we kind of just walked through the dinosaur part, thinking like he wouldn't make the connection because they're bones. Oh my God, his little mind was just like spinning.
Yeah,
like he was pointing every single one out. He was telling us like what they were. He was geeking out hard. So he is. Maybe he's going to be a paleontologist when he gets older.
Ross Geller. No, but so yeah, the screens in the Durango really paid off when we took our trip to Alabama, to Gulf Shores. And we told ourselves, every pre-parent has this, we're not going to be screen parents. Our kids will not be absorbed into screen time. We said that we were not going to be those parents.
Yeah, I don't have the patience.
Yeah, that completely dissolved. I mean, we limit it to like 1 or 2 hours a day, but we haven't gone like head first into like the iPad or like the carrying that around everywhere on occasion when he's just like really just losing his mind that day, or really getting on. So we'll carry that with us.
With Elijah, if he's losing his mind, it's typically because he doesn't feel well. So like the last few days have been rough with him, but it's because he's just been a little Krabby Patty because he doesn't feel well. So then everything is just like negative already. But 99.9% of the time, he's usually a happy baby. And as long as he gets his naps in and a long enough nap, he's usually a normal 2-year-old.
Yeah.
It's just the days that, like these last 4 days, well, since the beginning, I've said, like, this has taught me that I could never be a stay-at-home mom. Like, I don't think.
That was your dream.
No. My dream was to be a stay-at-home wife.
Oh, gotcha. Without the kid.
Without the No.
Yeah, she wants. So this has been an ongoing thing where Jessica wants to quit her job and not become a stay-at-home mom, but become a stay-at-home wife, meaning she quits her job, stays at home, but the kid still goes to daycare.
Yeah.
And it's like that completely.
That sounds phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm sure it does for the person not going to work every day.
I would be a better person
She
to
claims
everybody.
that the house would be clean,
Yeah.
the dishes would always be done, the laundry would always be done.
My
She would
dude,
never have to complain about
who
any of
does
that.
all of that now
Yeah,
with
but
a full-time
is
job?
it?
Do you help with that stuff?
No,
Exactly.
I don't. I've never claimed to help out with that stuff. I do the dishes.
You do.
I cook.
Occasionally. You do cook. You do. If I can get out of cooking,
I pay for the cleaners that come to our house twice a month.
If I can get out of the okay, I help pay for that too. You act like I don't have a job.
Okay, you can't constantly say I help pay for that too to everything, because at a certain point your income is gonna run out. So if you want to say I help with that too, yes, you attribute $5 to everything that we have in the house.
That is a collective, all right?
Oh, okay. That one thing
it's
is
a collective pot.
Yeah. But you also have, let's see, student loans, car payments,
yeah. Okay.
Gas, all those other things. We have a mortgage, we have bills, So like I said, your income can only stretch so far. To a certain point, I get to claim that my income solely pays for this
whatever.
thing, or whatever it may
My
be.
point is that yes, my dream was to be where were we going with this? My dream was to be a stay-at-home mom. Oh, I've realized that I cannot be a stay-at-home mom. Like being with a little person 24/7.
Being a mom full time.
That's
really what it means.
No.
It's not staying at home with a little person.
The
He's your
only
son.
interaction is like me trying to decipher his dialect.
Right, but he's your son. He's not just some random kid you're stuck with all day. So when you say being at home with
technically he is a random person that I'm stuck with all
he's
day.
not random, but he's definitely not
technical.
He's not. Yes, he's not our kid biologically, but he calls you mommy.
He does.
He calls you mommy.
I am his legal guardian.
Yeah, whenever we've really had it with him and we've hit that limit, like we're just, you know what, man? Hey, bud, we're just paid staff by the state of Texas. Don't blame us, call your local congressman. Complain to him that you got us, and we're just trying to do what we're told, man. It's just a job, bro. Like, don't yell at the front desk person.
He's
at your
so
gym.
angry with
Don't
us
yell
all
at the
time.
person behind the counter at Culver's. It's just their 9 to 5, bro. And that's kind of how sometimes we feel like, hey, man.
Yeah.
We're just paid staff, paid to help you out.
Lately, I've been feeling like a bad mom. Well, it's not that I don't understand him. It's that sometimes he mixes it up. Like he like says something a certain way and then he'll change the way he pronounces it. And I'm like, I literally will look at him because he'll just repeat himself. And I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. Show me. And he'll literally show me what he's talking about. Because I'm like, I don't know. Like, I do not know what you're saying.
For better or worse, I think I'm the only one.
He does. He understands him really well.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's just because I'm really good at picking up context clues. Like, I'm just, I've always been able to do that.
I eventually catch on.
Reason? Well, it's the same reason, I don't speak Spanish.
Yeah.
But I can hold a conversation with your grandparents because I know what they're saying. I don't literally know what they say. If you ask me to verbatim repeat what they said in English or translate what they said, I couldn't. But I have the gist of what they're trying to get across. And that's just kind of, I'm using his body language. I'm trying to figure out what are the things that he really likes. What is he normally like in this situation? And then, that kind of sounds like fire truck, or by twuck. Or he starts throwing the F-bomb around and we're like, okay, that can either be frog, truck, duck. He should, every now and then he'll just start dropping the F-bomb and you're like, what are you, I know you're not saying that word.
Yeah, it just comes out. It sounds like it.
And you're trying to say something else.
He did say, okay, guys, he did say shut up the other day and that was intentional.
I don't know how I feel about that. Like I
mean, when a 2-year-old says shut up, so
but he's not telling people that. He's
telling the dog. Justin, I don't know if I think
because I get to the point where I'm done with the dog.
He just said, "Shut up, Sarabi."
It's not shut up, Sarabi. It's because I say Sarabi first because I yell her name, and then I say shut up, and so then he goes, "Swabi, shut up."
I'm like, Elijah.
And I get it. Like we get because we don't want our kid running into daycare
telling his teachers to shut up.
Although it would be hilarious. I feel like, well, I take that back. I've always said that I would love getting those calls because I know I'm going to get them from a teacher that's like, Mr. Grossman, I just want to talk to you today about your son's behavior in class. Like, okay, what's up? He called me an asshat today and I don't appreciate it. And I'd be like, well, were you?
Were you being?
Were you being? Like, what were you doing that caused him to do? Like, I will always have. And
for those of you that don't know what an asshat is, because I did not know this phrase until I started dating Justin, is that he explained it to me. It's when you're so far up that your head. No, wait. When you're.
I would love. Yeah, I'm really. This is great.
When you're so when your head is so far up your ass, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Then you wear it as a hat, which makes absolutely no sense. But
no, it makes perfect sense.
Anyways,
those are the things I yell while driving.
I never.
You want to hear some colorful things? Take a trip with me.
You want to hear some colorful things? Go hang out with Luita.
Oh my gosh.
The things come out of her mouth.
Say, I don't even know if I want to repeat.
No, don't repeat anything she said.
But so anyways, I got in trouble once. Not in trouble, but I got a call from his first daycare because he's been kicked out of.
Oh yeah.
His
so
first daycare
update. I think at the time when we recorded 8 months ago, he'd been suspended for biting. We are long gone, have moved out. So he
started a new daycare. Like
he was
April,
going
May.
to a church school. So it was a church faith-based daycare. They did not have a lot of grace for my babe. So he is now in secular school, and it was a big change for him and a big change for us. But he is now in a full-blown normal daycare where you don't have doting moms.
It's like he was beloved by all at this daycare, and we enjoyed having him there because they enjoyed him being there, and it was great. But he just wouldn't stop biting, and finally the corporate team said he had to go because other parents were complaining. So now he's in and so that was one of the things, like parent hacks or tricks or whatever. How do you get your kid to stop biting? And that's one of the things that we struggled with, because literally we got Teeth Are Not for Biting book, which, thank you, Janie. We read that to him every night. We did the teethers. We did the frozen
videos,
fruits or the frozen snacks for him to chew on while he was teething. There's this vampire cartoon on YouTube that he watched every night that he bit. We had to do some things that we were told to do. We tried those things out, and it didn't work.
No.
And so we tried pretty much everything.
And he's still to this day is a biter. Like
yes and no, but he hasn't gotten, knock on wood.
He hasn't gotten in trouble in a month.
Yeah.
But he is on the fence.
He got to the point where even at this
daycare where they're like,
they're getting ready to kick him out.
He's the biter. Oh, and Mama had to have a phone call with that daycare.
So yeah, that's another thing, is like daycares. Like nobody tells you. Like I've heard, just through being around friends with parents, like, oh yeah, you got to call this daycare, 4 months before you're due or whatever, just to get on the list, so that whenever it's time for them to go to daycare, you're on the list and you have a spot. Like I thought that's freaking crazy that they're, whatever. But man, I don't know where the gold star daycares are, but man, it just seems like every daycare has its own issues. Like everybody that we've talked to, they have some kind of issue with their daycare. And I get it. It's a hard job, but it's also, I'm sure it's a business.
We have yet to find the perfect daycare.
And they run it like a business. And so, I will 100% be that parent that's like, hey man, state law says 11 kids. You got 12 in that classroom. Kick one of those kids out. Like, because you're calling me, telling me that my kid's biting, but yet you have 24 kids in your class.
Well, and the truth of the matter is, like, imagine I can't wrangle my one toddler. Imagine 11 little toddlers, all like within the same age range. They're like 2 and 3, just running around rampant with one teacher. Like, no, that's not.
Well, they should also be like you.
They're
That's not a.
watching themselves.
Well, to me, that's not a. That's not a job. That shouldn't be a job. Like working at a daycare. Like that should be like you're beginning, or not. I mean, definitely a calling, but like that you're interested in getting into teaching or whatever it is, and it's like. But I feel like the only stipulations or only requirements for being a daycare worker is that you have a clean background check, and that's it. And you can have a reliable car. Not even that, because I've seen daycare workers get dropped off, which is fine if you have to get dropped off. You can have a car, whatever. But it's like those are the only requirements, and it doesn't seem like there's any other requirements for daycare workers, and it's like they're literal people that can't, like they're children that can't talk yet, and so that just baffles my mind. But anyways, all that to say is that was one of the things that biting was like everybody and their mom, literally everybody
gave us advice,
and none of it worked, and it really came down to his pediatrician was telling us.
Yeah, we were at the point where I was like, oh my God, if he gets kicked out of this daycare, what are we going to do? We both were.
You're going to have to stay home.
And so
legitimately, you're going to have to be a stay-at-home mom.
And so I'm like...
forced into...
And so we had even explored play therapy.
Well, we still have to.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, we had explored play therapy. Well, come to find out, like most play therapists won't even take like children unless they're 3-4 years old, because they consider that an age appropriate behavior, which is what his pediatrician said. And even the daycare will say like it's age appropriate, but we're still expelling him.
But he broke skin.
Essentially they're saying like in order for us to keep other parents around, like we're going to kick him out, because otherwise we're going to lose multiple parents, which I understand that from the business side. But it is frustrating because it's like there's only so much we can do when we're not with him 24/7, because it wasn't like he was biting us. They were telling us he was being like territorial, essentially, of toys and things. Like he didn't want people in his space. And to an extent, I was like, well, I kind of get that. I wouldn't want people in my space either. I'd be biting too. So it's like, how do you explain that?
I'd be biting too.
So how do you explain that to a 2-year-old?
Yeah, and it's rough because we want it to, we don't want our kid going to school, but he also has a scar on his face from getting scratched, and he was kicked his like first week there.
Day 2, like, he got bit on the cheek.
All these different scenarios where it's like they're calling us and telling us our kid is being this way, our kid is being that way. But then he's also getting beat up too. So it's hard. And but like I said, we're
actually beat up.
Oops.
Okay, but
I let you go a whole 50 minutes with interrupting me. No more. I'm trying to close this sucker out.
But you also
keep interrupting.
You also make it sound like our kid's getting bullied at school.
He is getting bullied at school. I've seen it. He is a bully, but he's also getting bullied. Hurt people, trademark that. I wrote, that's I've never heard that anywhere else before.
Nope.
Hurt people. But yeah, he struggled and we struggled, and so many people wanted to tell us how to raise our kid and how to not necessarily raise him, but it's like, oh, y'all need to be doing this, or oh, y'all need to be doing that. And I will admit, I've been in that same situation where I've told our other friends, like, or question some of the things they do. And it's like, I think every parent is doing what they think is best for their kid and their situation. And I think nothing more than like having your own kids will help you realize that. And if you're a parent who still has kids, and you still think that your way is the best way, and you think you should tell other parents how to raise their kid, no. Like, there's no reason for that unless it's asked for. Like, there's no reason for you to feel the obligation to go out and tell another parent how to raise their kids, unless those kids are truly being abused or whatever it is. Like, actually being abused, not the 2023 definition of being abused, because they're not allowed to have, candy or not allowed to express their emotions. We watched a movie last night where the parent was just like letting their kid scream its head off and kick other people and hit other people because he was expressing his emotions. And it's like, no, that's not abuse. Like
Yeah.
not letting your kid, you know, act like a lunatic. That's just teaching them to be a productive person of society. And that's what we're trying to do with our little man. And just to go to say, like, whatever you're struggling with your kids, like, you're not alone. You're doing the best you can. Take a deep breath and
I
try
think
to
we're
do its
all
best.
like every parent that I talk to, especially parents with kids are the same age as our kid. We're all in the same boat. We're all learning together. We're
Yeah.
all trying to figure it out. Every little person is uniquely made, and they each have their own little ticks and mannerisms and things that they do differently, and no two are alike. So yeah, definitely we're all we're all in this together.
I will leave you with one genuine parenting hack that has so far not failed us. And I only pull it out sporadically, but it's the timer's fault. It's the timer's fault. It's the clock's fault.
You got that from somebody.
I think I got it. I don't remember if it was a friend of a friend. I think it was a friend of a friend, or maybe it was somebody off of Instagram. But essentially, what you do is you set a timer. You set it for, you know, however long you want it to be, whether that's depending on how quick you need the situation to be de-escalated. Like if, for instance, hey man, it's bedtime. It's 8:00. It's time to go to bed. And he's like, no, dinosaur, or whatever the heck he wants to watch in that moment. Or he wants to still be eating, which that's a recent thing lately, is that he will try and draw out dinner as long as possible because he knows that when he's done eating, it's time to start getting ready for bed. And so he'll sit there and just play with his food. And so we'll set a timer for 5 seconds. We have a Google system, or you pull out your phone, whatever it is, you set for 5 seconds. And then that timer starts going off. You go, oh, buddy, the timer says it's time to go to bed. That's the bedtime timer. It's time. And he'll literally, whatever he is doing, he'll look at the timer and he'll just drop his spoon, drop his fork, drop his toys, whatever it is, and be like, okay. Like it's not like it's, and it's great because
He just hasn't figured it out yet.
Yeah, and it's not like you're not going like, oh, it's you're not saying it. Daddy said it's time to go to bed. You stop. Daddy said it's time to. No, it's like, hey, buddy, I wish I could help you, but it's the timer's fault. Or hey, man, it's dark outside. I don't, whenever it's dark outside and the timer goes off, it's time to go to bed. And so we were at Grandma and Grandpa's house, and he was acting the fool like he always does because he doesn't want to leave their house. And it's like we're murdering him from taking him away from the only people that will ever love him and show him genuine affection is his Grandma and Grandpa, because everybody else treats him like dirt, apparently. He didn't want to leave. And so I set a timer for 10 seconds, and they'd had no idea. They looked at me like I was crazy because he was scream crying. And as soon as that alarm went off, he stopped scream crying. And I go, hey, man, look, it's time to leave Grandma. That's it. It's time. Grandpa and Grandma time is over. It's time to go home. And he just, okay. He said goodbye to Grandma and Grandpa. I picked him up and we walked out to the car. And I was like, bam, like it works. And so that's the one genuine parenting hack that I will leave you guys with is the timer, man. Use the clock, even if it's like, hey, if they're old enough to understand that, like when the small hand's on the 8 and the big hand's on the 12, it's time to go to bed. And look, it's time to go to bed. But the timer seems to really work. So that's a genuine, at least for our guy, really does work.
Works.
And the only hack, quote unquote, that I've seen work. So, but yeah, I appreciate you guys listening to this. I don't know if Jessica does. She talks about all the time how, she's going to be a superstar. And
What?
I'm just joking.
Okay. I'm like, where did that even come from? Superstar of what?
I don't know, man.
Momdom.
Yeah, momdom. We're gonna be parenting influencers.
Gonna clean houses like nobody else.
Goodness gracious. But anyways, we just want to say thanks for listening. If you could check out our Instagram, Genuinity Pod. Genuinity. I still, we named it and I still have trouble saying
I thought
our own podcast
it was
name.
the Genuinity Pod.
Well, I was talking about our Instagram handle,
Gotcha,
which
yes.
is genuinity.pod, GENUINITY.pod on Instagram. Go follow us. Our goal, I'll be honest with you guys, my goal, I want to get to at least 1,000 followers on Instagram, at least 1,000 followers on Spotify. So if you're listening on Spotify, hit the follow button. Tell us, if you have anything you want us to talk about. Give us some critiques.
I mean, I'm pretty indifferent
Give us some compliments.
as far as followers and who listens to this, but
yeah, you could care less. But
But I would love some genuine topics. Shoot those over.
Yeah.
Just message us through Instagram and let us know what you want us to talk about, because honestly, this is hard.
Give us some
Coming up with topics.
Give us some things that are going to be, super dividing between us. Give us something that we can really bite our teeth into. But I'm in it just for the money. We hit those 1,000 followers, and we can start doing some Spotify ads. And I'm all about doing some ads on Spotify. So I'm gonna be real honest with you guys. That's what I'm trying to go for. Let's make this thing a real podcast. Let's make it real, guys. Okay? I want those 5 cents a month.
I'm just here.
Bring it on. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys. We love y'all. Maybe. We don't know y'all. The ones we know we love. The ones we don't. We'll see how it goes.
We love everybody.
We'll see how it goes. That's not true.
I love everybody.
That is so not true.
I love everybody until I don't love you because you betrayed me.
I think we don't love anybody until we get to love you. And then if you give us a reason not to love you, then we don't love you.
That's pretty accurate. Okay.
All right. Well, we're getting out of here. Until next time.
Bye.